Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to a high-powered night of Free Enterprise action here with the Final Fantasy IV Open World Randomizer. My name is Smapety. Really excited for a fun Friday night here of the community race. With me tonight is Sunny Tapman. Sunny Tapman, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Bit warm out, but besides for that, things are looking pretty good here. So, basically, the idea of the seed is that it's a reversed, reject percent, but reversed. So that means you don't have access to any of the reject percent characters. You're only going to get real good characters. T4 is on, which means you can find stuff like adamant lying around in the pot in the very end. Crystal swords, white lances, Masamoons, Artemis arrows, anything you could ever want in chests. Just, you gotta find the right chest.
Right, you are. It's going to be a bounty of great items out there for our runners to find. And the best part about it is it's going to be only the best characters to wield those items. It's going to hopefully mean we're going to see some really fast play, some really early checks on normally hard to reach areas, and just a really good way to just sort of end the week and go into the weekend with a bang. The only wrench in the works, so to speak, is that we are on the Variant 1 flag tonight, which is Forge the Crystal, which means instead of just having to find the crystal like normal, our runners will have to find both the Legend Sword and the Adamant, which would normally forge the Excalibur. Instead, that'll give them the crystal they need. So Underworld access is absolute necessity here, as well as tracking those two items down and getting them to that Cocoa Shop.
Yep. So, looks like we're still getting set up here. But, I'd like to do this. What are you betting our first item from the Baigan slot is going to be? I am thinking I'm going to go with my old standard on the Glass Helm.
Glass Helm, always a good choice. Since we've got the Rosa start, I'm going to pull for an Artemis Bow. I want to see our racers be able to go right out of the gate with Archer Rosa and just start tearing through some things. So fingers crossed for the Artemis Bow. Looks like the gate has been dropped and our runners are good to go any moment now.
All right, we got some bets in the chat. Let's see if anybody is correct.
A Bahamut Summon would be a nice influx of cash and nothing else, since no Rydia is available tonight.
Yeah. All right, and we're off. All right, so we got the Rosa start. Rosa's probably the best white mage, and accompanying her is a Dark Knight. So
it's the original power couple, and they get a Luca key to start.
That is not immediately useful, but if somebody does want to make the dive, there's plenty of chests in Luca Cave. Check. There's also the key item itself.
Now, taking a look there, we do actually have that GW flag enabled, which means the warp glitch, if I'm reading that right, is going to be available here. So that Luca key might not even be useful at all, since our runners will be able to warp
from
Dwarf Castle and get that Luca key item. So it still does inflate your key item count, which is really crucial to get into that 10 key items to get the double experience. Always useful when going into your grind. But outside of that, not a whole lot of use that we're going to see out of that.
Dark Imps at the first Baron spot, not what you want to see. That spot has, I want to say, 350 HP? Ooh, there's that Artemis Bow you were talking about.
Well, it's, a little different from where it was, but it's appropriate that it would be in Rosa's house, so.
Oh, I just realized another Rosa.
Yeah, definitely good. More Rosas is never something to pass up, especially when you get that Artemis Bow. You can turn her into a really decent damage dealer very early, even late game with access to white and a really solid HP pool for Zeromus. Rosa's, even if you don't need all that extra healing, Rosa is never going to be a slouch when it comes to providing for the party.
She's also not a bad berserker. If you manage to find a heroin rope.
Oh, absolutely. The Heroine Robe with Artemis Bow and a good fistful of arrows can do a lot of work for Rosa.
Even the charm arrows they've got right now would probably be suitable.
Absolutely. Dr. Cossack immediately diving into Antlion very, very quickly here, looking to reap the benefits of those chests and put Rosa to work dealing damage against Antlion.
Christopher picks up. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go right ahead.
Christopher picks up a life staff in in Rydia's house in Mist.
So that's also great for Rosa. That means once we're done using her as an archer, she can transition into a full-fledged white mage and really provide some excellent healing and damage with that white spell when she gets it.
Indeed, indeed. So, making the Tamsian Castle checks for the rest of our group here, picking up a Cursed Ring. Cursed Ring reduces, I want to say, all stats by 5?
I can't remember the exact number offhand. I believe it's either 10 or 15, somewhere in there. But yeah, it's very useful if you want to turn one of your characters into a dedicated anchor for your agility. Getting that breakpoint lower and relatively making everybody else faster. Really, really solid tactic against Zeroma. So while it might not immediately be useful, except, well, maybe if you're not going to do anything with Dark Knight Cecil, you might want to just tank him to relative agility 1 and get Rosa moving relatively faster. But always an interesting item to have on hand.
Much Paranoia confirms that it's around 15.
15, okay, excellent.
Error in the... Error picking up a crystal ring in the smaller of the Troya treasuries.
Yeah, one of the best things you can slide on your finger in this game. Crystal ring is definitely a good find. We've got the Calcabrina fight in the Antlion spot. That's a little bit nasty to find early on just because of the area damage sort of required to handle it cleanly. We'll see if Dr. Cossack runs into any problems here.
And sadly, no J abilities, so you can just pop out a Dark Wave and clear them out easier.
Yeah, it might be one of the few situations where Dark Knight Cecil could put that ability to good use, but sadly not available. All he can do is attack.
And attack he shall. So, we've got Christopher Workin heading up Mount Hobbs. And we are seeing a cane. Considering we got that White Lance earlier, Christopher is definitely not upset about that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That is going to shore up his physical damage quite nicely. Between an Artemis bow with Rosa and a White Lance with Cain, that's going to carry him for quite some time. That's going to be really happy to see that, I'm sure.
All right, and Zilch is heading into the Calcabrina fight. Error is also heading up Hobbs. Nice crit on Cossack's screen.
Yeah, almost a tragedy there as they form the giant doll, but yeah, that Artemis bow crit takes very good care of that. Meanwhile, Zilch just popping a Boreas, gonna take it down with one item use and pick up his spoon.
So sadly, no Edward. So no Spoony Bard. However, if we find an edge, that'll be a good 10k to a boss.
Absolutely. Plus that also inflating that key item count, which might become crucial late game to getting those extra levels necessary to finish the seed.
So as Cossack and Zilch are heading out, Christopher Workin is checking those Hobbs chests. That's always a little bit of a gamble when you don't have exit.
Yeah, if you don't find anything of value there, it's a bit of a decent walk back, but with the 4 chests back there, it's always tempting, especially this early, to try to get something that's going to sort of jumpstart your party's power.
Yeah, and when you're still kind of struggling in terms of, armor and, we still haven't found a weapon that is worth going up ordeals to paladinize Cecil. So, you're going to be looking for that as well.
Absolutely. With Cecil, the mechanics of him working the way he is, he scales probably more so than any other character with what equipment you can find him. If you can find one of those really great endgame swords for him, he can become a powerhouse. If you can't find anything like that, well, there becomes less and less incentive to actually make a paladin out of him and actually use him. Looks like Christopher Workin stopped in a Kaipo and spotted an old man in the bed. So a mop if anyone finds the sand ruby, it would appear.
Sadly, nothing much in the shop there. Cossack and Zilch getting their canes at the exact same time. Kane jinx, I suppose. Looks like Christopher Walken's gonna be heading for the Baron Inn.
Yeah, it's an interesting play here. He might be. Well, we've got that Dark Imp fight, which is a relatively free fight. It's unfortunately because it's a free fight, you kind of hate to see it that early in there. But he might be betting most people are going to go on to Fabul right after Hobbs, so he might get some sort of an advantage by playing this out of order. We'll see if it pays off for him.
Yeah, and he also, I think he's the only person who's gone to Mist so far. So he's going to have both a Rosa who's dealing damage and a Rosa who can do some healing.
Yeah, that's very true. He's got that life staff sitting around, so he can have both specializations of Rosa here, as it were.
So having access to both of that could really help out his party.
Definitely. Meanwhile, Zilch and Dr. Cossack making, I guess you could say, the more traditional plays here, going to Fabul.
This might not be a good time for Mylan Z.
Yeah, it's a very straightforward fight, but yeah, this might hurt a little bit more than he can handle right now. Well, he's doing pretty decent damage.
I meant it was going to be a bad time for Mylan.
Oh, yeah, right you are.
Or maybe not.
It's going to be close. We'll see if Christopher Walken's able to clutch this out.
I think another jump would do it.
Get it off, not quite. Very unfortunate.
Dark Knight hanging out at Fabul.
Yeah, interesting play there by Zilch, hard casting the white spell from the White Lance. Dealing with Dark Knight Cecil that way rather than sitting around and taking the hits. See two very different approaches to that fight between Zilch and Dr. Cossack, and Zilch's approach getting him through just a little bit faster and snagging that rat tail.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I did not even know you could hardcast from the White Lance.
Yeah, it's one of those strategies that you kind of rarely see come into play, but this early on, just because the innate damage of that white spell is so high, you can really get some strong damage out of it playing it that way.
It's like Zilch is having some technical difficulties on his screen, but Christopher Walken grabbing all of the stuff out of the Troya treasury, getting that crystal ring, and we are seeing star veils for sale in Troya's shop, as well as life potions. Life potions, honestly, anytime I see life potions, I just buy a stack of 99.
Yeah, there's
how expensive.
Life potions are just one of the more enormously useful items in the game. Beyond their standard use of just reviving your downed characters, they can also be used for that wonderful, wonderful life glitch, which will bring dead enemies back to life if used at the right time with 0 HP, causing them to immediately die again and effectively getting twice the experience we would normally get from them. It's one of the most common tricks that runners of this game pick up, because it can really catapult your characters up in levels if you use it in the right fights.
Yeah, and that could make stuff like Upper Babel or Upper Babel's the main one, actually.
Yeah, that 4 Ogre chest can really pay off dividends if you properly life glitch it.
That and some people like to stop in at Ablin Castle. Get those trap fights.
Definitely. And then it looks like it was Silvera in the grass there. There was a Dwarf Axe to be found, which, not a great weapon in its own right, but it is the only long-range weapon equipable by Kane. So that gives him access to the back row glitch, which is the flag that triggers whenever you put a back row weapon on that never untriggers itself when you unequip a weapon. So being able to deal full damage from any row with Kane is a huge benefit for him right now.
Not only is it full damage, but enemies, some enemy formations also have a back row to them. So in that case, you'll be able to hit those enemies for full damage as well.
Yeah, right you are. Dr. Cossack going into the Vanilla D-Mist spot, might be looking for the Mist Dragon here, finds a different dragon altogether. Looks like he's going to fight it.
That is not a bad spot to find Bahamut.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting Bahamut out of the way here is definitely a weight off your shoulders. Now, the reason he's probably fighting this through is because he knows Fusoya is available on that Sand Ruby spot. Fusoya could be available elsewhere as well, with how many characters are sort of struck through here.
That's a fast fight, so...
Exactly, yeah. That's just another belt, another boss notch on your belt, which is going to make Fu all the more powerful when you do eventually get him.
So, Dr. Cossack going for that Baron N spot.
Yeah, now that he can back row Kane, that's going to be a much, much easier way to deal with Milon Z, since he's not going to be taking nearly as much damage from the back row.
And Zilch meeting a Pale Dim. Now, if I remember correctly, the Artemis bow itself has a bonus against dragons?
I believe...
It's either the bow or the arrows.
It's the arrows I know do. The bow gives you some sort of bonus. I don't believe it is against dragons, but I can never keep it straight exactly which Artemis does which against what.
But doesn't really matter because Zilch's Kane had a Dragoon Lance, so...
Yeah, the Dragoon Lance definitely does great damage against dragons, in addition to giving you a very sweet sound effect when you're attacking.
Ooh, the elements. That is an interesting one.
And Swimmy Leone in chat confirming it's the arrows that dragons. Thank you so much for that.
All right. Yeah, I always get that confused. Cossack casting some cures on Milon Z here.
Yeah, one of those bosses that has the undead flag on him, so curative magic is reversed, so very heads up play to get some damage out of Rosa there.
Zilch, going up against the elements here, gonna eat that Fire 3, and oh wow, Kane survived, amazing. But probably not gonna be. Oh,
1 HP, it's all you need.
1 health warrior? Oh.
I think that's gonna be the end of it.
Oh. That Baron N only give it a fire armor, so that's a dead end there.
Oof.
Ooh, and Zilch has to fight the first bot. Once again, but that shouldn't be too tough.
Yeah, it's always tempting, especially when you run into a relatively easy fight at the beginning of ordeals, to just push on and not take a step back for that safety save. I know I'm guilty of it a lot of the time. And sometimes you just run into something that like really punishes you for making that play.
I always think it's better to be overly cautious about saving than not saving enough.
Yeah, that's probably the right mindset to have, but when you're in the thrill of that race, you know, sometimes just the adrenaline gets to you and you just want to go fast.
Yeah.
So it's going in for round 2 against the elements here.
So what I think he should do here is make sure that he gets a jump off with Kane while it's still in... Oh, wait. Yeah, just gonna use the Cure 3 potion.
That is a very, very smart play there by Zilch. Really showing his understanding of the game mechanics there. Knowing that he can just basically kill the fight by emptying its HP, stopping the switch off to the other elements, and knowing it's got that curative weakness there. Really heads up play there by Zilch.
I will be right back in a moment.
So meanwhile, Dr. Cossack going into the fight against Pale Dim here. I didn't see whether Dr. Cossack had the Dragoon Lance or not. Based on that damage from that jump, I think he does. So we'll see if he fares any differently against the elements. Just the package available for more deals here. We'll see what character that grants if anyone decides to check it. Cecil becomes a paladin. Again, we don't have any fantastic equipment for him. We do have the means to get him back row glitched at least, so he'll be able to do damage safely from the back row. And Paladin Cecil also has that cover ability, which can be very nice when used from the back row. Take advantage of the defensive bonus you get back there, and also protecting some of the weaker members of your party. Just one of the many ways you can utilize Paladin Cecil there. And Mom Bomb is inside of the Kluya Shrine, which normally only has 1,000 HP. With Mom Bomb, though, that gets a massive HP boost just per the mechanics of the fight, so this is going to take a lot longer to deal with than ordinarily you would. See how much this explosion does here, and Zilch is able to weather it. Probably shouldn't have too much of a trouble here. Yeah, weathers the explosion, no problem. Now it's just got to mop up all 6 of these bombs here.
Alright, apologies for that.
And yeah, just to answer in chat, D-Mist is still at large. I don't believe we've had any D-Mist sighting yet, so we could have that mystical progression behind the package that everyone kind of hopes to see sometimes. Well, as long as you're not running, that is.
I'm gonna make a bet here. D-Mist at the Mega Sister slot. Rydia's mom has the Earth Crystal.
Oof. What did these runners do to you?
Nothing. I'm just still bitter about the Mom Bomb at top of Upper Babel.
Well, we'll see what checks our runners decide to make going out from here. Dr. Cossack and Zilch going to be leaving Mount Ordeals with their freshly ordained paladins here. Error is just now knighting his own Cecil, going against the Mom Bomb fight. Meanwhile, Christopher Warkin finishing up with that Mylon Z fight in Baron Inn, getting rewarded with the fire armor and a second Rosa and not much else.
'Tis very unfortunate. So, Dr. Cossack is gonna be checking out the Eblan Castle.
Yeah, always a favorite check of mine, just because of the number of chests available here, especially in a T4 seed. There is a large potential to get some really good items here, not to mention 3 different checks for progression with this particular flag set, so always a wealth of bounties to be had.
Indeed, indeed.
And he's got the hourglasses that he needs to make short work of pretty much all of the fights in here. Particularly this Mad Ogre fight is made way easier through use of those hourglasses, and using a coffin as well to eliminate one, following it up with a life potion to bring it back and get the extra XP from there. This Mad Ogre is worth a good chunk of XP at this point in the game, so really smart heads-up play there to maximize the amount of growth he's going to get out of his characters here.
Yep. Christopher Warkin making the Flame Dog check.
Yeah, it's one of those checks that's out of the way. You really don't want to make it unless you have to, but since we have seen no way to get to the underground so far, this could very well be the play. We'll see if it pays off for him here momentarily.
Yes, this is basically reverse reject percent. Or as Nitara calls it in the spreadsheet, I have the power!
And the Flame Puppy was holding on to a hook the time. So
oh boy.
That could be our underworld access. It could be. There's always a chance that there's a magma key still there. It could be on D-Mist floating around in one of the areas that hasn't been checked. It could also still be in Eblan Castle, but it's looking more and more like this is a hook seed.
Indeed, indeed.
And Christopher Warkin might be immediately diving that hook. He's not going to check the rest of the overworld. Might be.
He has that rat tail.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Doesn't look like he's gone to check it yet either. Immediately putting the hovercraft over by Evelyn Cave, but now is going up Mount Ordeal. So looks like he wants a paladin before he makes the dive.
That is fair enough. I would want a paladin as well, mostly because that way Paladin Cecil actually gets the levels.
Exactly, yeah. Once you turn Dark Knight Cecil into a paladin, his level resets to 1, and there are some really good opportunities to get some XP going through the Evelyn Cave dive, especially that 4 Mad Ogre chest. So,
We're not.
even
Well, didn't get a good look at Christopher's levels there. He might be able to slingshot?
yeah, I'm not sure if they'll be in range for a slingshot exactly, but even without slingshotting, Cecil's going to get a ton of experience from those fights down there.
Yeah. He's gonna get a nice push.
Ooh, and Dr. Cossack finding, I believe that was the Earth Crystal in one of the Evelyn Castle chests. We'll see if he decides to chase that, which is interesting. If he does, he will almost certainly find Flame Dog on the way and the hook, and we'll decide if he decides to continue chasing the Earth Crystal with the hook in hand or peels out of there as soon as he gets it.
That is also 2 character slots.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot to be gained by finishing the check in Towerzot with the Earth Crystal in hand. One of the things, of course, this gives you is what he's checking right now, which is that Troya Vault. It's a ton of chests, and on T4, he can get some serious loot here.
I believe it is 16.
That is a higher number than I can usually count to.
18. 1 column off. That was close, though.
Gets the pass. That's probably the biggest treasure to be found in there. Not immediately useful, but that's going to make going to Zeromus way less of a pain. And if worse comes to worse and he has to redo the Zeromus fight, doesn't have to take that walk of shame again, would shave some definite time off.
And also, picking up a power robe in there, that is the 2nd highest attack boosting armor in the game, behind the adamant armor, of course. So that is really good for our buddies Yang and Edge.
Yeah, it's really with the Melee Bruiser team right now, a power robe, while maybe not the most ideal thing to put on somebody, if you can stick somebody in the background, get them glitched like they are right now, power robe is definitely something to be thrown on them.
Heck, if you even get a bit unlucky, you might end up sticking that on Cecil, although not quite ideal. You really want to get at least like a... Well, I forget if Samurai is better than power armor.
I believe it is defensive-wise, it just doesn't have the strength stats, yeah.
Yeah, you really want to get the power armor to your more bruiser characters.
Zilch grabbing that hook, grabbing the hovercraft.
And going to check out Rat Tail.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get our first glance at what Adamant Grotto gives us.
Christopher, picking up that paladin. And for the Rat Tail... Oh, you don't want to see that.
Well, I mean, you can you can throw it and deal some fire damage, and yeah, that's really nothing. There's very little silver lining to be found there, but
it exists.
It is there. That check is out of the way, and if nothing else, again, Rat Tail is a key item, which means getting ever so close to that often stated 10 key item magic number.
Yes, which doubles your experience gain, which makes things go twice as fast. Oh, look, I did math on stream.
And Zilch, wanting to clear up everything here on the overworld before diving Eblin, is going into Eblin Castle to get that. Error finding his Earth Crystal.
And Zilch is going to be fighting for his.
Meanwhile, Dr. Cossack has picked up his second Rosa. So right now is all of our runners sort of hesitant to commit to the Evelyn Cave dive.
Drain Spear!
Yeah, Drain Spear hype. Incredibly useful item for throwing away. But yeah, all of our runners are a little hesitant to make that dive into Evelyn Cave just yet, sort of crossing each other's tracks here. Collecting all the loose ends in the overworld before going through. Real good time to just give a huge shout out to our Restream team tonight. We've got Tarasu working behind the scenes, getting the Restream going, and making sure all the sound quality is great. So huge thanks there. And it's Paranoia doing the tracking tonight, doing an excellent job keeping everything updated. So give all of our Restream team a follow here tonight. They definitely deserve that.
Yeah, tracking on a KT seed is not easy.
It is not. There is a lot you need to pay attention to, and a lot of places that you can just sort of look away at the wrong moment. So, but yeah, Paranoid's doing a fantastic job.
You sneeze, and then somebody grabs and then somebody gets out of it, and you're just like, when did that happen?
Exactly.
So Error picked up a ribbon in the Eblin Castle.
That is an excellent find. Really great piece of equipment.
I believe it is the highest magic defense you can get on head armor.
Yeah, not to mention all of that status protection as well can be really useful in a lot of places, especially if our runners end up going into that Sylph Cave where there are a lot of trap chests that have to look through and some nasty Malboros to fight to get through it.
Hey. Things can be kind of messy down there, but if you plan well, that's also where mute bells can come in handy. So the mute bells generally are not too useful. However, in a Sylph Cave, there are 3 chests of ghosts, and they always start out the battle by casting Fire 2, and they are vulnerable to mute. So you use a mute bell on them, they're not casting Fire 2, and then you can just nuke them with whatever area of effect spell you got.
Yeah, it's extremely useful because the way the queuing system of Final Fantasy IV's interpretation of the ATB system works is that if an enemy's got an attack queued up, even if you do something that interrupts that attack is still going to go off. So if you throw out something like a Hourglass that puts the stop effect on, even though they're stopped, they still have attacks queued up, so they're still going to get those Fire 2s off. It's 6 casts of Fire 2, it's a lengthy animation, it's a pain to sit through, it wastes a lot of time. But if you manage to throw that mute bell off, they're still going to try to cast that Fire 2, but now they can't do it because they're silenced. So it's one of the more recent things we've seen a lot of runners do to sort of make Sylph Cave a little bit less of a pain, and it actually puts to use an item that most people just sort of pass up a lot of the times in shops.
Speaking of items you pass up, I only recently learned that the mallet is reverses tiny.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of strange status restoring items. I'm not exactly sure what the joke or the reference is behind a mallet making you not tiny anymore, but if anyone is aware of what the
lucky for you, your co-commentator is aware of this.
Really?
So,
do tell.
The mallet actually comes from Japanese mythology and the story of Isunboshi. To make a much longer story short, the mallet has the ability to shrink and grow people.
Interesting. Well, look at that. You get a little bit of culture with your commentary here tonight, folks.
Indeed. Error, picking up that bandana. Bandana is the highest strength increasing item. not item, head armor. And the thing that's good about strength increasing armor is that something they don't tell you about, is something you kind of learn, is you've got attack multipliers. Basically, the more strength you have, the more attack hits you will do. And the more hits you do, the more damage you do. So you want to get as much strength as possible so you can have as many multipliers as possible.
Yeah, it's sort of these early Final Fantasy games, a lot to of their roots to tabletop games, particularly Dungeons and Dragons. And one of the conceits of D&D was getting multiple attacks in a round. So at least up through Final Fantasy IV, whenever you actually attack, you're actually attacking multiple times, making multiple attack rolls, essentially. And it's not immediately obvious just from the way the animation works, but that's why even though you might not have 100% accuracy, it looks like you're hitting every time, because at least one of your attacks is hitting every time, and some of them are missing, and that's sort of what the attack multiplier is all about.
So sometimes you'll see someone with a rune axe, they'll hit a jump for like 500, and then other times they hit it for like 1500, and that's because of your damage multipliers.
Yeah, exactly.
Zilch picking up a pass in the Evelyn Cave.
So now we know where 2 of the past locations are. There should be 3 altogether in chess. I wonder if we'll spot eyes on the 3rd one this year.
Apparently, according to Swimmy, Legend Sword was in the Babel Cave. So I'll keep an eye on the inventory for that. It was! So, Zilch has got part of his way to go mode. He still needs the adamant, and he still needs oh wait, no, he's got a way to get to the moon. He just needs that adamant.
Yeah, that's a very interesting place for the Legend Sword to be, because almost all of our runners are basically guaranteed to stumble across that going through Evelyn Cave, as it's looking more and more like this is a required hook seed here. So that would mean there essentially only one item to complete the crystal that our runners are going to be searching for. That's going to be kind of a mad scramble here, so it'll be really interesting to see what routing decisions we see from our runners, and how that ultimately decides the final ranks here.
Zilch, I'm picking up a Yang here. We haven't really seen any great claws for Yang quite yet. The claws that you're looking for him are the poison claws and the cat claws. You're especially looking for cat claws, but if you have to go with the poison claws, they do still increase strength. So
now, if I find some charm claws, should I equip those?
No.
Why wouldn't I do that?
Because they actually lower your accuracy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's a pretty noticeable drop in accuracy too.
And we just had that discussion about damage multipliers, so
look at it all it all rolls together.
Indeed. It's like poetry, it rhymes. Oh, and we did find a crystal sword.
Excellent. And that is a 3rd Rosa errors founding stuff. Picking up Uncle Mop, which is always an excellent find, and
maximum waifu power.
Yeah, going to remove vanilla-colored Rosa here, taking some of those amazing Scala Kitty color variants for Rosa, and letting the original color scheme go to the bench.
While we're in a little bit of a lull here, I want to shout out Scala Kitty for the amount of work she has put into this. It is just absolutely ridiculous how committed she is.
Yeah, there's so many nice little Easter eggs and visual touches that she's added to this, so definitely mad props for all of that really fantastic work.
All of the palette swaps for the characters, all of the randomized Z sprites, those were all her. So if y'all haven't thanked Skulla already, thank her again.
finding some Zeus gauntlets on the way through Upper Babel here. So more and more Cecil is getting kitted out. And this is sort of the way he just kind of ramps up in these T4 seeds is just you're able to throw that amazing equipment on him and turn him into an absolute powerhouse. You can see right there on Zilch's screen, Cecil is already one-shotting these Mad Ogres.
Yeah, and that is without any sort of, like, weakness multiplier. Wait, Swimmy, that's how you do that? I didn't know that was a thing, what?
Yeah, you can up that 10 to 20, 30, 40, all the way through there. You don't have to buy individual stacks of 10.
Learning stuff on commentary. Oh, I need to...
Free enterprise is the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to learning.
Indeed it is.
Dr. Cossack taking on that plague fight in the waterfall there, just adding to his boss total here.
Yep. That will potentially once he grabs a foo, that'll be another spell that on that list. You know, and it might be something like Nuke or Quake or Cure 4.
And just a ninja shirt, excuse me, from Zot. Being rewarded there. So the big prize from following that Earth Crystal completion seems to be the extra Rosa and Fusoya, but since we already have 2 Rosas, really it's Fusoya is the big reward there.
So we're gonna need Hook, unless Miss Dragon is behind package.
Yeah, that is the one thing that we haven't seen anyone yet. We haven't seen anywhere yet, so I don't think any of our runners are going to go that far out of their way just to look for a Magna Key at this point. I think we're going to see everyone go for the Hook now.
Yeah, but we don't know who's desperate enough to get a possible edge.
That's very true. I am a little shocked that nobody has at least checked to see who the character is at the package. But
yeah, that surprises me as well.
I'm guessing the thought process is that, well, it's this particular flag set, the only characters available are power characters. I'm going to get a free character. Well, spoke too soon. Dr. Cossack just made that check, and it is Kane.
One of those randomized package sprites. The dolls.
Now this is interesting because there are 2 white lances in play. There was the one from earlier.
Oh, that's true.
That dropped in Eblan Castle. So it looks like Dr. Cossack is going to pick himself up a second Dragoon and have 2 melee powerhouses with Holy Lances there.
Dolls everywhere. Brina's everywhere and not a Calca in sight. I don't know how I actually remembered which doll is which.
That's pretty impressive.
I blame the after years.
It was a little more obvious which was which in the after years.
Yeah, that's fair.
And a nice emerald-colored Kane, shades of the Nintendo Power artwork for Kane, which if you've never seen before, go ahead and Google that. It's a treat. Zilch working through this vanilla Rubicon spot. Rubicon always a scary fight in these kind of nastier boss spots, especially when you got a party like this that is so reliant on physical damage. It's going to counter everything with that Fire 2, which while it doesn't hit terribly hard, it's going to wear you down over time. And there's a lot of HP to go through there. Thankfully, he does have Kane who can jump. Those jumps are not going to trigger that counterattack. So that's at least some respite from it, but already you can see both of the Roses are down on Zilch's screen, so running into a little bit of trouble here.
What in the world am I looking at? You told me to Google the design, so I did.
Oh yeah, there's some real treasures there.
What in the world?
My personal favorite is Cecil with like a doctor's mirror. looking like Conan the Barbarian.
Amazing. I'll have to look at these more later. Just finding the King and Queen Evelyn in the Kaipo guard spot, which is not great.
Yeah, deciding to just attack his way through that, not waiting for the story trigger, which is perfectly definitely the right thing to do when they've got that low HP. And Zilch, meanwhile, has made it through Rubicon and is our first streamed runner to reach the underworld.
42 minutes. Not bad for a hook seed. I do, considering there's many more potential key item locations in KT as opposed to without it, totally understandable to take that long clearing everything out, because you want to make sure all the you check all the trap chests just to make sure that there is not that magma key hiding in a chest.
Yeah. And now that Dr. Kotsik has exhausted every possibility and, well, actually, no, he has not made the play on Tower of Zot yet, so looks like that's what he's going to do next. Not going to be, well, actually, no, because he has not found the hook, so he's going to get the hook from Flame Dog, and chances are he'll probably finish out the rest of the tower from there. So he'll pick up a Fusoya from there. It'll be interesting to see what he decides to make for his final team leaving Zot and going into Eblan Cave.
So, this is always something interesting. Cecil, Error Cecil has got an Aegis Shield quit, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me on this, but I really like Aegis Shield. I like the magic defense that it gives, and I just think that really helps.
Yeah, Aegis Shield's a very, very strong shield, especially going into Zeromus. Every bit of magic defense could be the difference between succumbing to a big bang and not. Yeah, definitely handy to have those around for anyone that can utilize the magic defense from them. And it looks like Zilch is deciding to go immediately into the tower. A lot of people are kind of hesitant to go into Lower Babel when you don't have the tower key, but on the KT flag set, there's just so much potential value to have here, and it's relatively quick checks. It's 4 trapped chests and the boss at the top, so you're looking at 5 potential key items with very easy fights inside of the trapped chests, and it can be done relatively quickly, so a lot of times doing that keyless tower can really pay off. We'll see if this is the case for Zilch.
Indeed. So, Error making his way up Tower of Babel.
Ooh, a stack of Artemis arrows. So that's not progression there, but that can really help in some particularly nasty fights, especially since you already got that Artemis bow and a rose to use it.
Yep. Swimmy Leone mentions the Sylph Cave, and hopefully, well, the runners are hoping that they don't have to take the dive in there. We are, because we're mean. But Sylph Cave can be particularly nasty, especially if the sirens have been found somewhere, so it is entirely within the realm of possibility that you just grind up for float and then make things easier, but that doesn't really change the fact that those encounters can be pretty nasty.
Yeah, but it's a little, it alleviates it a little bit when you got already at a level getting pretty close to having float, if not having it already. Plus you've got that ribbon that was found earlier, which can seriously help you against some of the encounters in there. So especially with this seed pairing out the way it is for our runners, Sylph Cave shouldn't be as much of an annoyance as it normally is. But yeah, it is still Sylph Cave at the end of the day.
There is still risk involved.
Absolutely.
And no one has found Dark Crystal yet, so there's no possibility of someone going up to the moon, checking out all of the chests there.
Yeah, the way forward so far. I spoke too soon. There's the darkness crystal, right in one of those trap chests in Lower Babel. So Zilch looks like he's going to continue to finish off his checks here. We'll see what he decides to do immediately after this. If he wants to continue bumbling around in the underworld, or make that play right to the moon.
If I'm in Zilch's shoes, I'm thinking. Some other people might be at tower. Some people might have already picked that up. And, some people are going to go to the moon right away. So, I'm going to guess that he stays down here, clears a few other things out. Does Dwarf Castle? Because I believe he has World. So... That is two key item checks.
It's one of those decisions that at this point you could really lean either way. You could really argue in the favor of either way. And I don't really think there is a wrong answer. I think both staying down in the underworld and finishing off these spots or immediately going to that moon, I think they're both incredibly valid options right now.
Zilch has got a tough decision ahead of him for sure.
Absolutely.
But
all of the runners on stream right here are incredibly skilled, very seasoned runners of this game. So it'll be really interesting to see how each of them approach that decision. If indeed most of them go to tower, some of them could put the tower off. That might make the decision for them.
And we got some yang on yang violence. It's always terrible to see. When will the fighting... Sorry. That was a little bit dark. But just getting a life staff for the efforts there, not quite what you want to get, but I don't remember if he picked up the life staff and missed, so...
Yeah, even if he didn't, there's 2 roses, and eventually they're going to transition into full casters. So if he does keep those 2 roses all the way to the end, never a bad thing to have more than 1 life staff. Not to mention, Fusoya can always switch over to that life staff if you need to do an emergency cure with him. So, I mean, there could have been worse things to find there.
Yep, it could have been a firebomb.
Yeah, it could have been a firebomb.
Alright, so we got the Dr. Cossack going through his evil wall fight. Zilch heading back down the tower. And we're gonna see what he decides to do.
Yeah, meanwhile, Christopher Warkin is finished with his Rubicon fight, going into the underworld, and we're gonna see where he decides to route immediately going down here.
Alright, heading straight to the Feymark. I am not going to argue with that play. Feymark has 4 potential key item check. You've got the chest on the way down in the Cave of Summon Monsters. You've got the free key item where the rat tail is in the vanilla game. And then you've got both the Leviathan and the Ashura spots that you can check.
Yeah, definitely a lot of value to be had very often in the March. Not to mention you've got that shop as well, which more often than not has some very important items, at least from my experience. There seems to be a wealth of items to be bought there. And there's also a ton of chests to check as well. And on these T4 flag set, that could mean a lot of really powerful loot. So yeah, very popular place to check.
Dr. Cossack getting white and nuke on his Fusoya.
Always good to pick up those high power spells on your mop. Turns him into a huge offensive powerhouse and can fill in the gaps that maybe some of your melee bruisers are leaving open. So his offense is going to be very, very good after that.
Yep. Error is... Or let's see what Error does after he's going to Feymark as well. Oh no, he's going to Tomra.
Let's see if Error decides to validate his run by checking the temp drop dwarf.
Ooh. Nothing in the shop there. Zilch running into the 5 warrior chest.
And yes, our temp dwarf is a quality control inspector today.
Probably could have used a few more of those on this game. In terms of the base game's coding, it's kind of a mess.
Well, they did what they could, but it was the early days of RPGs, and you know, sometimes you got to hold your game together with duct tape and prayers.
The Q-tips and a wish.
Zilch using that life glitch on these warriors here for another quick XP infusion.
Yep, that'll be really good. Especially considering Cecil's taking him down so fast.
An Error deciding to go right to Dwarf Castle. Let's see if he's just checking the shop, or if he's going to make a play on the 2 bosses here.
Alright, looks like Cossack is going down. I did not... Oh! Zilch got the adamant from that trap chest.
Oh, that's huge.
It is go time for Zilch.
Yeah,
and considering sirens have been found?
Yeah, that is big news. So Zilch has got to be breathing a sigh of relief that wasn't baited by that darkness crystal, staying in the underground, grabbing that go mode, and now it's just a matter of getting his characters where he wants them to be and taking down Zeromus.
And, not to mention, he's got exactly 10 key items.
How about that? And there's the Bacchuses he needs. Everything's just lining itself up perfectly.
Just 5 neat guys. Now, with his party composition, got the 2 roses as healers. Possibly one of them as damage dealer with white. If he's a real maverick, Zilch could go for 5 Zerkers, but don't think he has quite enough damage for it.
Yeah, if there was a pair of heroine robes and a pair of Arcanist bows available, I would say go for it, but yeah, it's going to be hard to get the damage that you would need with a Quint Zerker set up with this particular party, but never let your memes just be dreams.
Exactly.
Ooh, Protect Ring on the shelf in the Kokol shop. That is going to really shore up his defense here going into the final fight.
That is a good pickup. You always want to check those the 3 item spots in the Kokol shop. You know, there's the one in the bookcase, the I believe it's the pot near the fire, and then the treasure chest in the secret passage off the staircase.
There's also, and yep, that is correct. And of course, that shop that opens up once you have turned it in can often have some really high value rewards in there. Didn't look like it was anything particularly interesting today. And Zilch gonna go make some omelets here and prepare for the Z fight.
He should be more than safe.
Oh, absolutely. With Cecil putting out that kind of damage, going to be a relatively quick omelet flipping session. I hope he's using the high altitude settings here.
There you go. Moving it up. Moving the sirens further up in his inventory. Ooh, Error's got a double Cecil right now.
Ooh, that's very nice.
And considering he had, I believe he has an Excalibur in his inventory.
As far as I'm concerned, the more paladins you put in your party, the better that party is.
I am inclined to agree with you.
Oh, now Error gets the tower key from Dwarf Castle. which will point him most likely to doing the Tower of Babel next, which is going to get him that Darkness Crystal. And we'll
if
see...
he gets baited,
yeah, that
goes south for him very quickly.
Yeah, we're looking ahead a little bit, but if that ends up being the case, this could be a little bit disastrous here for Error, but we'll see how he decides to play it.
Assuming Leone brings up that this could be a very easy Zeramas fight for Zilch.
Oh, absolutely. That is a fantastic team to be going into that fight with. That is just an enormous amount of damage. Even though you don't have that great gear for Yang, the wonderful thing about Yang is he really doesn't need a lot of gear to become a phenomenal endgame powerhouse. He just needs those levels to get his damage up there, and he's going to always consistently provide the damage that you need. So, yeah, this things are looking really, really good for Zilch here.
Yeah, I emphasize the poison and the cat claws, but you really don't need them. They're just nice to have.
And Que is turning in his Darkness Crystal for a giant flying prawn. He might be headed for the moon.
Oh, Christopher, no.
And again, like we were saying earlier, it's not really a play that you can blame. There's so much value. Not to mention the enormous amount of experience you're going to get from all of those fights there. He's going to remove the need to grind at the end, but unfortunately, we are burdened with the knowledge that there is nothing of value progression-wise up there.
Nope. I mean,
I don't say prawn like it's a bad thing.
Shrimp does taste. Although I'm not currently. Never mind. That joke was gonna flop.
That's okay.
We all tell a bad joke once in a while.
Oh, that's my entire commentary. is you throw 9 bad jokes out there, and maybe the 10th. It's the shotgun approach to comedy.
Shotgun comedy, I love it. Zilch going into the Z fight.
Yeah, going into the Z fight right at the 1 hour mark in a Forge the Crystal Seed, just a testament to how quick they were able to get through this, and just it's at pretty jetty positions, but Zilch just made all the right plays, has all the right team, has all the right tools, so just really fantastic he's able to get in there so quick. And well, I guess a question needs to be asked right now, and Sonny, I will give you the honors.
Whose butt are we kicking today? I always say this every time. I'm hoping for one of those Project Crosszone sprites, because I love those sprites. Charles Barkley, let's go.
Some really good wishes here in chat. Let's see if any of them will be granted here.
Time to shut up and jam guide. Looks like Quan is checking out the hair dryers.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Error is indeed making the check to Tower, as getting the Tower key from Dwarf Castle will probably indicate that's going to be your next move. Should be getting his Darkness Crystal soon, and then he's got a decision to make.
And it's going to be... Oh, yes!
That is pretty glorious.
That's a really good one.
Who needs Big Bang when you got a big gun?
I mean, aren't they the same thing?
One does make the other.
That's a new one. I've yet to see that one in the wild.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a pretty standard Zerk and Go strat here from Zilch. Just setting everything up now. And he is actually Zerking one of his roses.
Yes!
So we do have Quad Zerker at least.
I am a fan of this.
And
I think he's
Cecil doing a casual 7,000 plus damage with his swing, so ain't no thing.
Yeah, that's pretty normal. So everyone's just gonna be plugging away here. If I remember correctly, gonna be waiting for the Big Bang to cast and then immediately cast Cure 4. If I remember, Cure 4 is an instant cast?
Yeah, it has, I don't know the exact stats on the casting times there, but I believe it has the lowest casting time on it of the Cure spells, whereas Cure 3 is like a step above that. So Cure 3 is going to be slower to cast than Cure 4, so even if you don't need the extra healing, sometimes you're going to cast Cure 4 just to get that speed out of it, because speed can be everything when it comes to the timing these Aromas fights.
Welcome to Arnold's Pizza Shop. Yeah, this fight should not last too long on Zilch's side. Got serious damage coming out from, honestly, all of Zilch's Zerkers are doing good damage.
Yeah, this is very, very powerful party to have for this fight. It will actually surprise me if that second Big Bang gets off. Though, interestingly, he does have his Yang in the back row, and it is impossible to get Yang back row glitched, so not doing the kind of damage...
Unless you do, I think it's like a steel glitch?
Oh, really? Now that I wasn't aware of.
I think you can, like, steel glitch and put a harp onto Yang or something like that?
Huh, interesting.
I don't know the logistics of it, but it is possible via glitch to get Yang. It is possible via another glitch to get Yang back row glitch.
And we do see that second Big Bang, so not quite enough damage to bypass it, but this fight should be over momentarily. There it goes. There's the flash. Zilch is your first place winner on stream and overall for the community race tonight with an official time of 1 hour, 3 minutes, 43 seconds. What a fantastic time.
Zeromus, you have been dominated.
Mr. Schwarzenegger, is that you?
That was not a good impression.
It was. Oh, God, I swore he was in the booth with me here.
All right. We're gonna see if we can get Zilch in for an interview here. Except I'm not actually in the IRC chip.
Meanwhile, we've got Error up here, finishing off the tower, going up to fight Yang on the top here, as Christopher Workin plucks away at bosses on the moon, and Dr. Cossack has him way into the underground. So he's got some decisions to make as soon as he sets foot in there. Now, everyone's probably seeing that done by Zilch and now sort of re-examining where their priorities are going to be as far as routing. Although Avenger, not progression, but it's a really good item with this team to have.
So, the fun thing about the Avenger, Auto Berserk. And not only is it Auto Berserk, it is also bypassed by Berserk immunities and also spell clearing. So, as long as you have an Avenger equipped, you're going to be attacking no matter what. Also, it has a strange glitch associated with it, where if you have, like, let's say, just a Crystal Sword equipped at the start of a fight, and then you switch over to the Avenger, I believe the way that it works is that the stats are calculated when you hit the attack button. And since you don't technically hit the attack button when you're berserked, you still get the Crystal Sword attack power, but the auto berserk of the Avenger. But with that being said, we have got Zilch in chat right now. Hello, Zilch. Congrats on your win.
Thank you. I feel like that seed went well.
Yeah, talk about making all the right decisions. So how did you feel sort of when you get that darkness crystal and you've got the decision ahead of you? Do I stay down here? Do I go to the moon? And
I was basically going to clear Fey March and then go straight to the moon. So I'm really happy I found the Adamant there.
Yeah, no kidding. As we're looking at Quest decided to go right to the moon after getting the darkness crystals. So unfortunately, he's going to be fumbling around without that. So it looks like that's basically the crucial decision to make. What sort of made you decide to go to the Fey March beforehand?
It's a quick check. I can I had a Crystal Sword Cecil, so the bosses weren't going to be an issue, I didn't think. So I guess that'd be like 3 key items before I went to the moon, plus a little extra experience. So can
Gotcha.
kill everything. Maybe I find the pan there and then can do a quick Sylph check, but other than that, I think I was in good shape to go to the moon after that, or I would have been.
Yeah, most definitely. That was, that was sort of the theme of the flag set here, but that's a bit of a powerhouse team to take to the final fight there.
I have my 15 white spears and dragoon lances for my 1 cane, and then the Crystal Sword Excalibur Cecil. Yep.
There was a second cane out there. I believe it was at the package. At least one of the runners picked them up to distribute those armaments, but I think you did fine with the 2 roses instead.
I didn't think I needed any more firepower. I mean, I had Yang with my cursed ring in the back row for half the Z fight, so.
Yeah, there's only so much damage you're gonna want to deal at any given time.
The only character I was kind of hoping to get would have been like a Palom or a Fu, just so I could have checked Dwarf Castle with the warp glitch. So that was the one thing that, I mean, before I got the adamant, obviously, but.
Yeah,
and that was actually interesting because the item out of Dwarf Castle was the tower key. So anybody that went to Dwarf Castle first to take advantage of that glitch is going to be steered right towards that darkness crystal.
Yeah, and they probably would have done Fey March first and then skipped the chest.
Yeah, so just some really a really couple of key decisions separated what could be a slog from a jet seed, and you made the right decision. So yeah, GG.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't want to double dip Earth or Zot, so I was like, yeah, let's just. When I saw the Earth Crystal, I'm like, no, this is going to be the last check in the game.
Yeah, I don't think anybody on stream resisted the call of the Earth Crystal. They were looking for a potential way to skip that hook seed, no matter where it came from.
Yeah. Just don't want to do it sometimes.
What was the item at Earth?
Item at Earth Crystal was a ninja shirt.
Oh, wow. That would have been useful. Nope.
No, it wasn't.
Well, there was also another Rosa and a Fusoya.
Well, the Fu would have been nice.
But why have
Go and
Fu
dip
when you
Silk
can have
Cave.
triple waifu power?
Yeah, there you go. Well, did you have any final thoughts about this seed here tonight?
No. I think that was it. Thanks for commentating and restreaming, guys.
Anytime. Thank you so much for being restreamed, and congratulations on your win. It's an absolutely amazing time, so GG.
Beat Simbu, so that's all that counts, right?
There you go.
All right, thanks,
Take care,
guys.
Zilch. Thanks so much.
All right, so Error is gonna be getting his adamant right about now. So he is going to be in go mode.
And speaking of Simbu, we do have our second place finisher, and it is Simbu. The time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, 20 seconds. GG Simbu, an amazing time there.
So
yeah, Error making the same correct decisions here, not getting baited by that that darkness crystal, and is going putting himself in go mode and should be following up relatively soon here.
Did I hear a dog?
Yeah, she wanted to make sure she was heard. Apologies.
I don't think anybody minds. We all love dogs here. Alright, so, quest for beating up that, Pale Dim spot. Just to see what he got, but it wasn't adamant, so doesn't matter. Error is going for that, is gonna be cracking open some omelets right about now. He does also have access to the King Ryu grind. If he wanted to do that and then just walk down to the, Zeroma's fight from there. But, he's gonna be taking the easier option.
Yeah, and this is if you're in Quest for Workin's shoes, right? Because the Legend Sword was on the way to the Underworld, so everybody's got the Legend Sword. It's just that adamant that's hanging in the balance. So even though these .duns are coming through and we're seeing people finish, there's really not a lot you can extrapolate from that. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's made the wrong decision going to the moon. It could just be a matter of, well, they found the last part they needed on the moon and were faster than me, or they went and checked a different part of the moon before me. So, unfortunately, when you're trying to meta out, okay, what have I done wrong here? You're not going to be able to draw too much in this particular situation. So if you're in his shoes, you probably keep checking everything on the moon and full clear it. And fortunately, that's just going to get him nowhere.
Dr. Cossack, no, don't leave without looking for the trap chest.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's
that's heartbreaking.
It is, because that's always an annoying chest to check, because you don't typically have float at this point. It means every time you go into checking one of those chests, you have to heal up, make sure you can, withstand a round of attacks from those warriors. So often it gets skipped and put by the wayside, but unfortunately tonight that is the play to make. And Dr. Cossack walking right by go mode, it's not something you want to see.
So Wyvern coming out, saying hello, with a pollen attack. I don't even know what enemy uses that attack.
Well, spring is in the air, and Wyvern, being the annoyance that he is, wants to make sure all of our eyes are watered.
How rude. Mean enough that he just shows up in general. He's gonna make us all sneeze too.
Yeah, Wyvern is literally the worst.
It's okay, how kind of nerdy. We'll get through it together.
There are tissues available to your right, everybody. Dr. Cossack is making the play into Lower Babel now, so he is going to come across the all too tempting Darkness Crystal, and we'll just see what ultimately he decides to do with it. So, a lot of major decisions coming up for Dr. Cossack.
Will he too be baited by the temptation?
If he does, it would just kind of go to show you just how polarizing of a decision that could have half a... like we mentioned before, it's really difficult to fault either of those calls.
All right, so looks like Christopher, excuse me, starting to check the treasure chests in Lunar Subterrane. Those can be kind of tricky, if I'm 100% honest.
Yeah, there are some really nasty encounters in here. You've got like the high defense behemoths that are going to counter everything with a nasty counterattack. You've got things like the double dragon fights that just do a lot of damage and can absorb a lot of punishment that are hard to deal with. The one benefit is that these chests often have an enormous amount of experience. Running through and full clearing the moon like this is going to put Quester for Work in a place where he's not going to need to do any grinding by the end of this. He's going to have everything he needs as soon as he gets go mode to just go to Zeromus and end this seed.
Indeed. And Error is entering the Zeromus fight. Looking like hybrid strats from him. Or possibly just all Zerk and having healing everywhere.
Yeah, we might see a couple reflected nukes from food just to add to the here, but yeah, that is a enormous amount of physical damage that he has between all of those characters.
His Rosa is only at 1200 HP. She's not surviving unnerfed. So I'm thinking Boo's just gonna... I knew it was there and it still threw me off.
It's a pretty fantastic sprite.
It is really good.
The muzzle flash is what really brings it all together.
Yeah, I think that's it. But that Rosa isn't gonna survive a nuked, an unnerfed Big Bang.
Right,
so I think he's gonna be having her serve as an agility anchor.
Yeah, most certainly. Meanwhile, Moon Blazewolf is going to be our third place finisher, finishing up here with a time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, 17 seconds. So congratulations, Moon Blazewolf.
Congratulations. We appreciate almost everything you two Skull. Alright. So, Christopher, going into this Mylan fight.
Yeah, it's the vanilla flavor, or not vanilla, but the original Mylan.
Organic Mylan with no extra additives.
Right, full oh my body. Not a difficult fight by any stretch of the imagination. Mylan's going to be
Especially not
casting.
when you've got a crystal.
Oh, precisely, yeah. All Mylan's going to be doing is buttons. They're not going to do any damage to this team, and it's just going to be a matter of how quickly Christopher can wipe this up.
Mylan does do it. Oh my body, good.
Woo Bear, let me tell you, when I first got Ha Ha Hamas to appear in a seed, I had to pause the game because I was doubled over in laughter so much. It was embarrassing how much of my faculties were lost upon seeing that sprite.
I don't know, Kaipomis is still pretty good.
It is.
I've yet to see Hahamas. I might have to do a couple runs and look for that.
So yeah, it looks like we're doing Trizerker strats from Error with a little bit of added new flavor there. Should be a relatively quick fight here from Error. Not a lot that's going to be able to stop this party, as strong it is and as well equipped as it is.
Yeah. I'm going to be throwing that Terminus in the microwave a little bit, and there we go.
With a final time of 1 hour, 18 minutes, 52 seconds, Error is going to take 4th place in this community race. GG, we'll see if we can get him in here for an interview.
It seems that Christopher Workin is not having that good of a time right now.
Yeah, when you've got the Magus Sisters and not a lot of multi-target damage, that's always difficult to deal with. And I believe we're joined by Error, our 4th place finisher here tonight. GG, Error, congratulations on your finish.
Thank you.
So yeah, the big question we need to know about is, when you saw that Darkness Crystal, what made you decide to stick around as opposed to just immediately going for the moon?
2 things. One, I hadn't checked summons yet, and I hadn't seen any boxes yet. So I was going to go there first anyway, and then I saw Zilt's finish, and then that basically meta game to me. It was like, okay, it's probably a land of summons based on the finish time.
Right. Yeah, it was. It's interesting because that seems to be like the major dividing point here from the runners we've seen on stream, is whether they decided to take the bait and chase the moon as soon as they got that, or stick around and search a little bit more. And you made the right call, the right decision there. So.
If I had found Bacchuses before then, I would have probably gone the moon. But since I still needed Bacchuses, I was going to check Land of Summons first just to find them, because obviously when you got 2 super-powered Cecils, getting that Bacchus is... get them online earlier is super nice.
Once again, the lure of booze is putting you on the right path.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's fair to say we all have a bit of a problem when it comes to Bacchus.
And then seeing the Zilt's finish just, reinforces, like, it's probably on Earth. If it was on Moon, I wouldn't have expected, Zilch to go to Moon and immediately find it in the first chest.
Right.
Which may have happened, but I would have gone Moon before I would have gone Sylph Cave.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
So-
ultimately, the big deciding factor between you and Zilch was as soon as you went underground, Zilch went immediately to Lower Babel while you went to Dwarf Castle first. Was there a particular reason you wanted to get Dwarf Castle out of the way? Like, what was kind of your thought process in making that decision?
I don't know. I had warp.
That's a perfectly valid answer.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I had warp, and then I can't remember if I found Tower Key there or not.
Yes, that was the tower key was from Giat there.
Real quick, Moonblaze.
So Tower Key, I might have gone Tower first anyway, but if I didn't have the Tower Key, I might have gone Summons first. But I don't know. That's hypotheticals.
Right. It just seemed like everything was at least pushing you in the right direction there.
Right.
Great job on picking up on the right cues and making all the right decisions there. Fantastic finishing time for a V1 seed. That is a amazing time. So congratulations on that.
Well, it was kind of hard to miss the Legends sword.
Yeah, and that's one of the interesting things is since you know everyone's Legends, it's just trying to make the one decision that's going to put you the adamant in your hands before everyone else.
Also, if somebody would like to teach a course on inventory management in T4, I would be first to sign up.
Oh goodness,
You were having some issues. I was noticing that.
I would be right behind you.
I don't know. It's like I know there's a shortcut to throw away items, but I don't want to waste that split second checking to see what the item is before I throw it away. Because I know one of the first restreams I had ever, been restreamed on, I went back and watched it again, and I had a good finishing time because I made great decisions, or correct decisions. There's great decisions in Randomizer that aren't correct. But I noticed that, I lost time just, looking at the item before I threw it away, and it's just, I got into the habit of just keeping everything, and then it's like, now I was like, okay, I'm almost full in inventory. I'm gonna throw it away. Oh, I just wasted all the time I saved because I actually want that.
You look at your inventory management and then you just kind of die inside.
Yes.
Yeah, all it takes is to throw away an adamant armor once, and then you're always going to be skeptical about what you're.
I mean, as long as you pick it back up, it's okay. But still, it's like, how much time am I actually saving just throwing everything away immediately and then picking it back up if I want it? And it's like,
Christopher running into a bit of an issue with the D-Lunars, considering he had an Avenger equipped.
Oof, yeah, that is rough. But yeah, did you have any other thoughts you wanted to share, Cedar?
I don't know if the one other thing, that question, I don't think it cost me any slots, but I did a little bit of a grind at the end. That's a very small one, just, I guess, for a few multipliers. I don't know if it actually saved me any time on Zeromus or not, but...
Zilch had to do a bit of a grind, too. He grinded both of his roses. He had 2 roses up to Cure 4, so if anything, I think your grind was a little bit less than his.
I just used Rosa for agility and anchor.
Hey, it worked for you. That was an incredibly fast fight.
I know, it was really nice. The other thing is, finding the Excalibur in Eblin, and then immediately finding a crystal sword right after that.
Yeah, as far as the runners on stream, you're the only one, I believe, to have the Paladin. So that really helped speed up that fight as well.
But that's it for me.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Air. Thank you so much for agreeing to be restreamed, and GG on your finish tonight.
Thank you.
Take care.
Dr. Cossack, no! Check the chests!
Oh no. He walked by it just again. Oh dear.
Oh no! Oh, that makes me so sad. Dr. Cossack, look at the chests! Oh no, he has AirPods in, he can't hear us.
Meanwhile, during our interview, we've had a number of finishes crossing the line here the last couple of minutes. Poidrak is going to take 5th place with a time of 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 18 seconds. Chokosura not far behind with a time of 1 hour, 21 minutes, 2 seconds. That gives him 6th place. Salty Fry is going to be in 7th, 1 hour, 21 minutes, 14 seconds. And Crimson Avix is our most recent finisher, taking 8th place with a time of 1 hour, 25 minutes, 29 seconds. So all of these runners finishing in under 90 minutes on a Forge the Crystal Seed. That's pretty fantastic.
That is very above average. Especially considering I don't think Forge the Crystal doesn't usually have KT. So even with that in account.
Yeah, KT is usually, when you see Forge the Crystal and KT put together, that's usually for the 2v2, because the idea is that you're splitting your team up and checking a bunch of different places. So posting these incredibly fast times, doing it solo is pretty phenomenal.
Indeed. Christopher Warkin doing towers up. And Bluebear brings up a good point. I think he's saying that Dr. Cossack might be compensating with the metagaming.
Yeah, well, the good news is he's got his grinding behind him, so
Yes.
his team is ready to go to take on anything in this game at this point. So now it's just a matter of him just checking places and just trying to find that one place that our finishers have gotten that he hasn't, and he's checking these hard fights here at the Fame Arch. Golbez is always an annoying fight to do, but. Just either just not thinking about or just thinking that adamant is somewhere other than that warrior's chest, and yeah, it's just unfortunate to see him not making that play.
When it comes to stuff like this, I always go with the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, it's so difficult when you have so many possibilities open to you. In a flag set like this, and you've got that metagame element, knowing people finish the race of I've got so many possibilities for where something could be. What is the one place that I check? And you might psych yourself out and thinking, well, maybe they did something incredibly hard that I wasn't able to do, and you miss the you miss the forest for the trees, and it's really, really easy to get in that kind of mindset.
Yeah. It's easy to, kind of say, oh, you know what? They're really good. They probably figured some sort of crazy strat out for this. There's an Odin sitting next to the Golbez here. They probably figured out some way to get through this involving silk webs and that sort of thing, when in reality, they didn't do it at all.
Yeah, it's precisely. Meanwhile, Christopher Warkin seems to have abandoned the moon. I'm not sure if there was a full clear on the moon or not.
There was not. He lost at the Ogopogo spot,
Gotcha.
and
Okay.
I don't think he's checked many of the trap chests.
Yeah, probably thinking to himself, well, I'm this deep into the moon. Other people have finished. There's little chance that they've gone this deep in and were able to come up with the item. So it's probably something else. So refocusing his efforts there on some of the easier checks, and hopefully this is going to push him in the right direction.
Picking up that all-important firebomb.
Yeah, run is validated. He does have the adamant K Grotto firebomb.
Indeed. Just getting a Masamune on Dr. Cossack's side. Don't even know if he has an edge.
I don't think we've seen an edge at all this seed.
No, someone has an edge. I think Christopher has one.
My mistake.
But
Edge was from the moon. Thank you, Terasa.
Yep. But is Christopher gonna validate his run?
Well, he's got the validation Adamant Grotto firebomb. See if he adds the Temp Dwarf to it.
No!
Oh.
Stop the run. Stream's over, guys.
Yeah, I do not like that play. I understand everybody has their strategies when it comes to routing, but failing to route in that Temp Job Dwarf is just it's a real rookie move.
Speaking of choices I'm not sure about when it comes to routing.
Yeah, going into the Luca Cave here, maybe not realizing that the warp glitch is on, or
He doesn't have somebody who can cast warp.
he does not have warp. Okay. So,
He
yeah,
does
having
not
to do
have
it
not have the Fusuya, and he does not have the Talum. So no warp for him.
So yeah, unfortunately, having to go through it manually and not going to be anything worthwhile there.
Oh, come on, Dr. Cossack. Do it for us. He's got the twin harp. Cossack, probably taking a moment to think there.
Yeah, there's a lot. Again, there's just an enormous amount of decisions to be made here. A lot of different places to check, and it can be really overwhelming.
Dr. Cossack taking the forfeit.
Yeah, it's and absolutely, no shame in that decision whatsoever. When you these people are getting all these finishes, and there's just really really just can't imagine where it was that you've got what you're looking for. No shame whatsoever in that. Dr. Cossack putting up an incredible show here tonight, doing some really fantastic play, and unfortunately just the luck of the draw not with him. So GG to Dr. Cossack. Thanks so much for being restreamed and really being a great competitor here tonight.
If you want to come in for an interview, dude, we're totally willing. You're talking to somebody else who forfeit on Restream. No shame. Questifer's doing it.
He's heading into the Fame Arch. We'll see if
He's checking chests.
Yeah, he's got float on. That is a good sign that he is on the right path here.
Alright, and Questifer is soon gonna get his go mode ready. Adamant's not on the moon. Adamant was in the Fame Arc trap chest. The one that you passed by not once but twice.
Yeah, it's a pretty sneaky place for that for that Adamant to be.
Cossack, are you doing he's doing music for us.
Oh, what a champion.
What a legend. We've had that a lot recently where a runner just goes and does music for the fans. I really appreciate it.
That may be a little bit new to Free Enterprise. Everything in this game is randomized, even Edward's harp music. One of the great Easter eggs is that we have a ton of MIDI harp arrangements of various video game and other pop culture songs put into the game. You never know what you're going to get when you turn in that twin harp. So even though this is an out-of-the-way check that very rarely yields value just because of the sheer time it takes invested into it, you can always win over chat with a music check.
And it's not just like stuff from Final Fantasy. I've gotten stuff from like Arcana. Ooh, Supple Geoduck donated $10.
Thank you so much for the donation and for helping keep Free Enterprise going. Really appreciate it.
But you can get harp songs ranging from Final Fantasy to Arcana to even stuff like Baten Kaitos.
I think there used to be Pirates of the Caribbean music in here until that started getting content.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I heard Megalovania in here once.
I've gotten that a couple of times. That's always hype.
Yeah. Fun stuff. But we're Whoa! Is that real? Am I reading that right? Supple Geoduck donated $1,000. Holy cow. Oh. Oh. I'm getting baited. I'm getting baited.
It happens to the best of us.
Curses. You're fine, Geoduck.
All right, let's take a listen to the rhythms of our Spoony Bard here.
Hey, Tadpole Pond. Love that song. All right, but we've got
Major thanks to Dr. Cossack for sticking around long enough to give us the music. Let's get some love for Dr. Cossack in chat for being an absolute champion here tonight.
much love to the man himself. But Christopher's in his Z fight.
Yeah, he is about to do some termination of his own. And we'll see with the HP totals we're looking at right now, this should not be a very difficult fight by any stretch of the imagination.
Nope.
Every time. It just gets better. It gets better.
It honestly does. Alright, getting counter nuke in. And we've got some throwing action going on here.
Yeah, our only restream runner that's going to be able to throw cutlery today.
It's always a pleasure. Ooh, that Big Bang coming out. That's going to be nerfed, but still gonna hit pretty hard.
Yeah, shouldn't be anything that isn't going to be easily recoverable. Biggest scare being on that Edge, who wasn't healed from the counter nuke, but honestly, with the damage being put out, not a big concern by any stretch of the imagination. Should be relatively simple to get everyone patched up here.
Yeah, there is a lot of Excaliburs in Christopher's inventory. There's also a number of Dragoon Spears in there.
Yeah, he has got his pick of the litter when it comes to expensive weaponry to toss.
He's gonna be pretty good to go. He's got that Rosa Zerk.
Always great to see Zerker Rosa.
And as you said, because he went and did all the moon bosses, no need to grind.
Yeah, and that Cecil's still putting out that casual 7,000 damage.
Indeed. And then once, if Edge ends up running out of things to throw, just zerk them up.
Should be seeing that screen flash any moment now. With this kind of damage, it wouldn't surprise me if we see a skip the second Big Bang here.
It's possible. There it is.
GG Christopher Workin, finishing 11th place with a time of 1 hour, 41 minutes, 36 seconds. And that time does not tell the whole story about his run. After, almost clearing the entirety of the moon and then coming back and still putting up a time that's just shy of the 100-minute mark, that really is impressive. That's a fantastic finish that Christopher Workin.
That is a very impressive run. I know I wouldn't be able to pull that off, mostly because I haven't played in a while, but yeah, that is a very impressive run. And I think we're going to see if we can get him in for an interview. If not, then we should probably...
Yeah, looks like he should be coming in any moment now.
Alright. Good, 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 good.
But yeah, a very quick seed for a V1 flag set. A lot of that is due to just position of where the necessary key items were, and some of it is a testament to just how much quicker things can be when you have such an amazing pool of characters to pick from.
And with that, this is the man with the best nickname in all of Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, Christopher Workin.
Work.
Great run today, dude.
Yeah, excellent run. Gotta ask though, how did you feel getting baited by that Darkness Crystal?
It's been like that all week. Bad decisions, poor gambles. It's
You say that, but we were just talking about when we saw where that Darkness Crystal was, and we did not know the Adamant was in the Feymarch. We were talking about that, and it really is a 50-50 coin flip at that point, whether you go to the moon or you stay in the underground. And a lot of the other racers that we talked to that did stay in the underground were on the verge of making that moon play, and only one or two things kept them down there, like trying to find Bacchuses or something like that. So really can't fault you at all for trying to go to the moon. That's a perfectly valid play.
Yeah, I know it's a valid play. It's just luck has not been on my side, and it just hurts.
Yeah, Rando's gonna Rando.
Yeah, I just wish it were Brando in the other direction. You know what I mean? It needs to Brando in my favor every once in a while.
But that being said, incredibly fast to get into the underground. How, just like everybody else, kind of full cleared the overworld before making the play underneath. Were you just sort of, hoping you get a Magna Key, or just wanted to leave no stone unturned? What was sort of your thought process in routing the overworld?
More so making sure I had the power to clear the hook route, rather than anything. Because 2 Roses, a Cane, and a Dark Knight Cecil, I didn't think that was going to cut the mustard.
Yeah, definitely. Then one of the interesting is, because he did go to the person on stream to pick up that edge, and that really helped you out during the final Z fight. He put out an enormous amount of damage with those darts. Did you like your final party makeup, or were there any changes you thought you might want to make to it?
Not really. I was perfectly happy with my final party. I was happy to see Edge and get rid of Yang. I'm very vocal in my severe distaste of Yang, so I was happy to get rid of Yang, and Edge is a perfectly good replacement. I was actually kind of hoping for another Cecil. I had another Crystal Sword waiting in the wings, but I'll take Edge.
You will be happy to know that we only saw one Yang go to the Zeromus fight, and he was used as an agility Yang.
Good.
We also, there was a second Cecil in the seed. I forget exactly where, but there was a second
Dwarf Castle, I believe.
Dwarf Castle.
I was putting off Dwarf Castle. Look, the reason I didn't the reason I didn't stay underground is because I didn't have a black mage.
You didn't
Right.
have
Because
a way to
this
cast
was,
warp.
Dwarf Castle glitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the reason I went to the moon, is because I was hoping for a decent black mage, either Palom or Fu, because Rydia's turned off. And when I got Edge, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm staying up here.
Yeah, there was a Fu at the end of Zot. Was
Yeah,
the
there
one
was
that
a
most
Fu at
people
End of
picked
Zot,
up.
and there was a Fu at Sand Ruby.
Yeah, yeah.
And by the time I went to Zot, and I'm like, it's too late.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
already plenty leveled and plenty overpowered. If Adamant's at Luca, I'm already hosed. Because I saw Zilch finished, and that's when I went to check Last Arm.
hmm
And I'm sitting.
Yeah, I noticed that. So that was the impetus to sort of go do the giant check was you saw the Zilch finish?
Yeah, I saw the Zilch finish. And I'm like, okay, maybe he, did that because I figured, oh, it's Zilch. I probably took too long on the overworld.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those really difficult decisions where you've got so many options in front of you that seeing somebody finish that fast, it's really hard to really metagame anything from that because it could have been any number of places that they checked other than you. So yeah, really kind of just real difficult decisions to be made here.
Well, it allowed me to metagame out a lot of things. It allowed me to metagame out the Sylphgave trap chest, allowed me to metagame out the Lunar Subterrane trap chest. I almost metagamed out the Feymarch trap chest, but I'm like, that one can be healed through. That one's not that bad. Which I glad I didn't because I checked it anyway.
Yep.
Um,
We had one of our Dr. Cossack. Dr. Cossack walked by it twice, and we were.
oh, I saw him forfeit. I'm like, ooh, I wonder what happened there.
Yeah, he
it's-
couldn't.
it's-
He couldn't
it's
figure out
always-
where it was.
It's always an awkward check to make because usually by the first time you're going to the Feymarch you don't have float, so if you're going to make the check then you got to cast Cure on everybody the whole time. But yeah, it's kind of a trolley place for that thing to be.
Yeah, there with early finishes, you can actually metagame out a lot more checks than you think you can.
Yeah,
You-
that's a very
If
good
you
point.
think about it for a second.
Yeah,
Like I knew I could at that point. I knew I could probably metagame out Sheila 2, just because I hadn't found the pan yet, and I'd already done
Basically everything at that point.
look. By the time that finished out, I already done Lower Babel, so unless it was a Dwarf Castle or Luca Cave, and it wouldn't have been a Luca Cave.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, unless they gambled Dwarf Castle.
Yeah,
So I mean, I could gamble out Sheila. I could meta out Sheila 2.
right.
That early of a finish, if you sit and think about it for a second or two, there's a lot you can meta out.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Well, did you have any closing thoughts or anything you want to say about this seed in particular?
Where was the Black Mage? And Rando needs the Rando in my favor more often.
I don't think we saw Palom anywhere.
Yeah, there was no sight of the kid, so who knows?
I'm gonna assume Babel? Giant?
Did anyone check package?
Yes, that was another Kane.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so at that point it would have had to been Giant of Babel.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Okay.
thanks so much for agreeing to be restreamed tonight, Christopher Orkin. Fantastic job on the run tonight. It's a shame it just didn't roll in the way you played, but what you did play, you played fantastic. And seriously, GG, thanks so much.
No problem. Thanks to everyone for restreaming, tracking, commentating, the whole 9 yards.
And with that, I do want to give thanks to our restream team with Terasu on the restreaming, and I don't know the command to check the what's the command? Thank you, Turasu. So those are so thanks to our runners, Zilch, Error, Dr. Cossack, and Christopher Workin, and give them all a follow. And then thank you to my co-commentator Smapity, our tracker, Much Paranoia, and our restreamer Turasu.
Yeah, it's
And,
a huge, just a huge thanks to all of them for, volunteering their time to make these runs happen. We will not be having any community races broadcast next week. RPG Limit Break is happening, and Free Enterprise is going to be featured during RPG Limit Break. So definitely check with the schedule and make sure you're catching some of the biggest names in the community out there to put on a fantastic show. We're going to be watching, and we'll be back the week after RPG Limit Break is over with some more Free Enterprise community race action. So check us out then.